just a short contribution here, Mr Chair. Thank you.
Mr Chair.
I call Lawrence Yule.
Mr Chair, on part 2, I wish to ask a question of the Minister, really under Schedule 1 that was amended, and it really relates to 21B, and it's around the Chief Executive, and it relates to royalties, and it's really around the Chief Executive on application by a permit holder who has opted and is referred to in subclause 1B, may refund or an overpaid royalty or reduce a royalty amount payable for a reporting period that is applied or on after 21st of May 2013 until the commencement of the subclause. And then I'll come on to the new subclause. And my question is, I suppose, I'm trying to understand the rationale or the basis for a chief executive being able to reduce a royalty amount payable, and the conditions, and maybe the Minister could explain for me, for my understanding, the conditions that would allow or lead to that occurring, because I'm struggling to understand a royalty is either a royalty, and on what basis would a person or an entity be allowed to have a reduced royalty payable. And then I come to new Part 2 inserted into Schedule 1, and that really relates to the existing, it says the existing transactions are not affected, and then it goes on to further list amendments made to Sections 7 to 10, 18 and 19 of the Crown Minerals Act 2018 apply only to transactions entered into or after commencement date. I accept that, so that is any new transaction. And in this clause, a transaction must be treated as being entered into before the commencement date, even if immediately before commencement the transaction is subject to a condition precedent. And I want to make sure and be absolutely assured by the Minister that when this new Act is passed and when this new provision, new Part 2, is inserted, that we have the change of control mechanisms sorted to the point that there are going to be no unintended consequences. So it says in the next clause that change of control means a change of control within the meaning of Section 41A1 and 8 of this Act, as in force immediately before commencement. So I'm trying to understand where it says as in force immediately before commencement, when we're actually talking about a new Act after commencement that has a different provision around change and control. So I want to understand the difference between the change and control mechanism immediately prior. So this Act will be passed in the next few weeks. It'll get royal assent. So what's going to happen in the meantime and what's going to happen now versus what's going to happen after this Act is passed? Because it then goes on to say a transaction means a contract or arrangement that has or will have the effect of a corporate body undergoing a change of control. And I come back to my previous question. If there are changes that occur in the uncertain period between now and the royal assent be given to this Act, what does that actually mean, and how is that going to be covered in a practical sense? Because in this House, we're brought here to make legislation and to make changes. But I'm just trying to understand in a practical sense, and for my own knowledge, what this actually means in terms of change and how this new part will assert that. Thank you, Mr Chair.
The question is that the Minister's amendment to Clause 20 set out on SOP number 182 be agreed to. All those in favour say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question is that Part 2 as amended stand part. All those in favour say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question is that the Minister's amendments to the schedule set out on SOP number 182 be agreed to. All those in favour say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question is that the schedule stand part. All those in favour say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, we now come to the debate on clauses 1 to 3. The question is that clause 1 stand part. All those in favour say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question is that clause 2 stand part. All those in favour say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question is that clause 3 stand part. All those in favour say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. I will report this bill with amendment presently. Members, we now come to the coroner's access to